I've been sitting here listening to the wonderful words that have been spoken by so many people. And during the course of that, I remembered words spoken to me by a little girl in a cafeteria in a school in Chicago. You see, we had a press conference in the summer months to encourage the students to come back to school for lunch. Free lunch, a good lunch, one that they needed. And there I was with the television cameras making this plea while the kids were eating at a table. And after a minute I thought to myself, Durbin, you've been around this business for a while. If you want to be on the Chicago television news tonight, ditch the cameras and go sit with the kids. So I walked over and sat down next to these children. The television cameras followed me. The kids stopped eating. One little girl said, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm Dick Durbin." She said, "What do you do?" I said, "I'm a United States Senator." She said, "Well, good for you." So when I see this gathering and all of the presentations that have been made by my friends, I first thank Mark Gately, Organized Labor, and a lot of the organizers. I get a lot more credit for this event than I deserve. The person who deserves the most credit is Bill Houlihan. Remember Bill in your thoughts and prayers. And also I want to thank our friends in Organized Labor who stood by us. I want to thank my great staff that is gathered here today. Clarissa Duque, Kaylee Golson, he's not here, but Pat Suiters, they're the backbone of a great and effective staff. I, of course, want to thank the founder of I Will, a lady I've known for a number of years, Loretta. It works. I got to this point in my life partially by accident. I was an intern in the office of a U.S. Senator named Paul Douglas, the first really exposure I ever had to politics. He was a wonderful inspiration, and it really was the most ethical senator I've ever read about or heard about. He mentioned to me that during the course of his campaign I should go down to West Frankfort, Illinois. Anybody here from West Frankfort? Hey! And keep an eye out for a state senator. Couldn't miss him. He was wearing horn-rimmed glasses and had a bow tie. His name was Paul Simon. In just a very short period of time, I struck up a friendship with Paul, and he offered me, when he was elected lieutenant governor, my first job out of law school, to be parliamentarian of the Illinois State Senate. I had no idea what that was, but I desperately needed that paycheck. So I studied up on it and drove a U-Haul truck back from Washington to Springfield. Loretta was on the plane with our baby, and we started our life here in this town. It's been a wonderful experience. For me, politics is in my bloodstream, and as Morris Udall once said, if you have politics in your bloodstream, only embalming fluid will replace it. He's exactly right. I met some wonderful people along the way. I lost 3 straight elections. I don't recommend that. And each time Paul Simon would lift me up, dust me off, and say, let's go get him again. I want to acknowledge his daughter, Sheila Simon, and Perry. Welcome to Springfield. Great family. A lot has been said about a lot of people, but I want to mention 2 or 3. Tammy Duckworth. God bless Tammy Duckworth. Tammy came literally rolling into my office one night to go to the State of the Union address, and I met her and her husband Brian, both members of the Illinois National Guard, and I was swept away. I caught her at a weak moment. She thinks she was on meds, and I asked her if she'd run for office. And she said she would. Her first race, like my first race, wasn't successful, but the next one was. And eventually I have her by my side as my colleague and partner in the Senate. I'm the luckiest senator of the other 99 who serve, because I've got the best and strongest possible partner. Make sure as senior senator you give her all the support you can. And how about Elizabeth Warren? Isn't she something? Are you surprised? Are you surprised to know when the Democratic senators have a serious conversation about any deep and challenging subject, she is always the first person who's invited? Absolutely. She's so damn smart. She's that law school professor whose course you just have to take, even if you're not going to get a good grade, because you don't want to miss that opportunity. I'm blessed to call her my colleague and friend, and I thank her for her kind comments. She's the best. Juliana, they're waiting for you in Washington. In just a few months, if we do our work here, you'll be joining them. I know the origin of your political adventure started with your family, of course, and your dad and his inspiration, but also with a group called I Will, and you were one of the early classes and one of the star pupils who graduated from the I Will program. State representative, lieutenant governor, and now my successor as United States Senator. You're going to be great. I want to mention a topic because my buddy and friend, the greatest president of my lifetime, was kind enough to come up with these words of encouragement and recognition today. Last week, our family visited the Obama Center in Chicago. Put it on your list of absolute mandatory things you have to do. And I'll tell you why. Let me tell you why. Because it not only tells you the history of the Obama administration, and it's a wonderful history, it will restore your faith in the future and our government. After all we have been through with this orange-haired president, after all we have seen in almost 6 years of his administration, where he has appealed to fear and hate across America, it is refreshing to remember the Obama years, when our theme was hope, confidence, and the motto, yes, we can. He did things which made difference in people's lives. I introduced the DREAM Act in the Senate 25 years ago. I've been able to pass it in the Senate, not the House, in the House and not the Senate. And I finally, in frustration, appealed to President Obama personally. I called him and said, is there anything you can do? I can't pass this law, but I hope that you can do something by executive order. He said he'd work on it. A year later, he contacted me and said, we have a program called DACA. And DACA will say if you were brought to the United States as a child, your parents made the decision to come, and they didn't file the papers they should have, and you were undocumented, you will have a chance to work in the United States legally, and you won't be deported. You have to go through a criminal background check every 2 years. You have to pay a $600 fee every 2 years, but you're able to work and pursue the future. That's the DACA program. It started with the DREAM Act. Do you know, can you guess how many young people signed up for that? 835,000. 835,000. When we had the sign-up day at Navy Pier, Congressman Gutierrez and I, we expected 500 people. We had volunteer attorneys there to help them sign up the papers to go into DACA. 15,000 showed up. They started gathering at midnight before, parents and their kids, to register for Obama's DACA program. And they did it. And I will tell you, more than one of them came up to me and to Clarasol, and they said something which breaks my heart now to share with you. They said, Senator, we are turning ourselves into this government. We are telling this government that we are undocumented. We have lived a life of silence, begged our kids never to tell anybody that we weren't documented. and now we're giving the government the information. Are we safe in this country to do this? I said, if you follow the law in America, we have always said we will stand by you. I believe that until this president. He is now pursuing these DACA kids to deport them with the information they filed with the government. That is just plain wrong. That is unjust and it's un-American. So I appeal to you, when we see these ICE agents tearing people's lives apart and literally killing them in the streets of America, we've got to stand up and speak up. Immigration is part of this country. My mother was an immigrant to this country, and I'm damn proud of it. Immigrants have been a part of our nation from the beginning, and they will be in the future. I've appealed to my colleagues in the Senate to carry on the fight, and I know they will. Counting on you, Juliana, to join them in that effort. I think it'll make a big difference in our future. The day will come when this is behind us, and that day is 76 days away, when we have a chance to make an impact on an election. Let us stand up, speak up, vote, organize, and bring together the voters of this state for the right reason. Let me conclude by saying a lot more I could talk about, but you've been very patient sitting there so far this morning. It's been the honor of my life to be a kid coming out of East St. Louis. Yesterday I went down to the house I grew up in East St. Louis, 484 North 29th Street. It's been abandoned for 4 years, but the front door was open. And so I got to walk through the house where, as a little kid, I grew up. If you ever have that experience, you'll be amazed how small everything is. But it reminded me of my roots, of a working family, a labor family, a family that had immigrant roots, who did their best to make a living for 3 kids, and gave me a fighting chance to be educated and to have lifetime opportunities that are just unimaginable. You have been the key to that. Your support through your votes and efforts have given me a chance to serve. I have tried to return the favor, to make sure I look back on that ladder and help somebody up behind me. That is the future of our party, and we've got to remember it at every possible level. Loretta and I are honored to be with you today. We will be in the future. The next time I'll be sitting out there in your chair saying, how long is this thing going to go? The good news is I think I'm the last speaker. Thank you so much.